Movin the Chains. It's Movin the Chains SC on Facebook if you want to go directly to our page. A little better quality, some better graphics over there. May recommend you checking us out there if you'd like. But that's the page on there. If you're on Facebook and you want to add us on Twitter, we're MovinChains. We are there for that as well. We got to do a few more things on the Twitter page as far as scores throughout the week and everything and whatnot. We're also on Instagram, Movin Chains there, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your stuff. Check us out everywhere, man. We want you guys to follow us, so we're trying to make it as big as we can. We've had a couple cool things coming through the works for you, so love to have you guys here with us. John, so pumped football's back, man.
Yeah, it was good.
Excited.
It was good.
I'm so excited. Go ahead.
There were things tonight where, I forget every year until we actually go to a game. There's just things that happen at high school games, inside high school stadiums. Yeah, they just don't happen anywhere else. They don't happen at college games. They don't happen at NFL games. It's only high school games.
Yeah, it's a little different atmosphere as I continue to tweet this out and whatnot. Sorry, guys. A little bit different atmosphere this year with kind of a reduced crowd size and whatnot. Teams not having as much practice time ahead of time. It was just kind of a weird vibe. You saw some sloppy play around the Upstate, around the state. We saw some postponed games around the state due to lightning and whatnot. A couple COVID cancellations as well. So just a weird week one of football, but football is back. That's all I can say. So we're here, John. Thank you guys for tuning in. I see Michael on here, Haley on here already. Thank you guys for tuning in. Brian Davis, appreciate you. A big win for the Eagles tonight over Robert E. Lee. We'll get to that score here in a little bit. Go Eagles there. John, let's start with some Upstate scores. The game we were at, we're going to give you a recap to here in a little bit. Greenville 34, Greer 17. Greenwood all over Lawrence 35-7. Belton Honeypath 29, Pendleton 7. Southside 24, Berea 8. St. Joe's 20, Blacksburg 6. Boiling Springs loses to Gaffney 33-23. Byrnes 41, Spartanburg 21 in a game that was probably a little bit closer than that, John. Blue Ridge 43, Carolina 18. Chapman continues to roll 45-14 over Woodruff. Chesney 27, Legion Collegiate 16. Christchurch 35, 96-19. Abbeville all over West Oak 63-0. Daniel all over Seneca 76-34. Dorman 69, Riverside 24. Westside 45, Easley 0. Maybe the shocker of the night here for me, John. Travelers Rest 25, Eastside 3. Hillcrest 24, Malden 14. JL Man 39, Wade Hampton 32. Palmetto 37, Powdersville 22. Pickens 46, Walhalla 30. TL Hanna 35, Woodmont 10. And Wren upsets the 5A Power Clover 23-21. John, that's your Upstate scores. You want to give us a run around the state here? We got a couple more scores rolling in still. I keep looking for some Upstate stuff, but John, give us a statewide recap here if you can.
Yeah, so we'll start in the Midlands. Northwestern with a big win in Columbia. They knock off Ridgeview tonight 37-21. Ridgeview coming off a really good season last year. Start off 0-1 this year though. Carolina Forest all over South Florence 40-14. Andrew Jackson with a nice win tonight on the road over Central of Pageland 15-8 for the Vols. Chapin defeats Lower Richland 47-26. We've got Conway knocking off St. James tonight 21-16. And our number one team in the state, number one team in 5A, still trucking along. They shut out White Knoll tonight 66-0. As we go into the lower state here, Johnsonville went on the road, defeats Hannah Pamplico 34-20. Saluda, they follow up their state championship very well tonight. They beat Eau Claire tonight 62-14 on the road. And Hunter Allen's Alada Vikings tonight. You love hearing these kind of scores, Kev. They knock off King Street tonight 8-6.
Fun game down there, it sounds like. A real slobber knocker.
Either baseball or football, we don't know, but the Alada Vikings are on top. McCormick defeats Dixie 35-8. And this is, you're going to want to sit down for this. Darlington used to be a decent program. They go to Myrtle Beach tonight. They lose 69-0.
That's a tough one.
Nation Ford, Battle of Fort Mill here. Nation Ford knocks off Fort Mill 45-20 in that game. Gilbert goes on the road, defeats Orangeburg Wilkinson 32-14. 13. Tough game for the Rock Hill Bearcats. They host Spring Valley tonight, and they were up in this game 12-10, I believe, going into the fourth quarter. Spring Valley gets a touchdown in the fourth quarter, wins that game 17-12. South Point, they defeat Catawba Ridge 31-14. Somerville, now this game probably delayed because of all the rain that was down the lower state, a little bit of flooding in the Charleston area, which, that happens every other day now. But Somerville right now on top of Stratford 6-0. Our last scores from the second quarter in that game.
I tell you what, that game started late. I saw some photos of the coaches out there blowing off the water. They wanted to play really bad tonight, Sean. So
well, that's good.
They're working on it.
Wade Hampton. Now this is Wade Hampton down the lower state. They knocked off Silver Bluff tonight, 26-24. Wando. This is also lower state, Charleston area. Wando over Cane Bay, 28-10. That scores from the third quarter though. This game, a little bit of a surprise. AC Flora going to Westwood. Westwood, a strong program. AC Flora blows them out tonight, 44-6.
That was one of our games of the week too. We were expecting a big time game there.
Yeah.
AC Flora wasn't having it.
There's a couple scores where I got to put on my clown shoes tonight, and that's one of them. York defeats Indianland tonight, 21-14. Now this game, to me, so earlier this week, I really talked up the talent at Fox Creek. What they have on the offensive line, I believe. Brooklyn Casey beats them 41-6 tonight.
Whoa.
Abbeville, they carry that number one banner well tonight. They go on the road to defeat West Oak 63-0. Another shutout. Airport goes down to Midland Valley, 20-0 winners there. Chris Stevens on the staff down there at Airport. Good to see him and the Eagles get a win here in week 1 tonight. I tell you, Midland Valley, back in the early mid-2000s, Midland Valley was a tough program. I'd like to see them get back to it.
They've been a team that's kind of moved up and down classifications a few times lately. Maybe now they're back in a place where they can compete a little bit more. We'll see. But interesting how that's going to go. I want to shout out to Chris Blanton here checking us out, saying what's up. Glad to see us back. Thanks, Chris. A big win for your Gaffney Indians tonight. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. Appreciate you getting in with us tonight. I see Justin watching as well, along with a couple other people here. So you guys tune in on Facebook and Twitter. If you're on Twitter, we'd really prefer you go to Facebook. It's just going to look better, in all honesty. You got a box in the way here and a lot of stuff, but check us out on Facebook. That's where the magic happens, really. John, any more scores you want to hit here statewide for us?
So we got a couple more from the Midlands. Blythewood over North Augusta, 27-24.
You hate to see that, man. You really hate to see the Yellow Jackets lose like that, man. If only they had a better coach. That's all I gotta say.
It's frustrating.
Yeah.
And Fairfield Central defeats Keenan 33-12. Great Collegiate over Batesburg Leesville in a good game here, 27-20. Great Collegiate winners there. Irmo all over Richland Northeast tonight, 63-6. And I don't get to say this often, so I'll make sure everyone hears me loud and clear. Lugoff Elgin is 1-0.
Look at him.
1-0. One win, no losses. They defeat Greer tonight, 35-19. Nice to see the Demons get on the right side of the column here in week 1. And let's see here, we've got a couple private school scores. Richard Wynn over Palmetto Christian, 26-14. So from Thursday night, if you guys missed any of those games, we had a handful. Newberry knocked off Columbia 39-12. North Central over Louisville, 38-7. Ridge Spring Minetta over Pelion, 26-12. And Chester defeated Mid Carolina, 20-13. Now this could be a goof. I hope Louisville didn't have to play twice on Thursday, but we've got another Louisville score. C.A. Johnson over Louisville, 21-14.
I do know.
I'm willing to bet the North Central score is correct. Given the geography of the two schools.
I know Lamar won also yesterday. I'm not sure. I can't remember who they played, but Lamar beat somebody. Got a score from Mark Tyrell Corley comes in. Williston Elko beat former 2A Calhoun County 48-6 tonight. Good game there. Sounds like big win for Williston Elko. Chris says Gaffney's got to be better for next week. Upstate Championship preview coming up. Yeah, that Gaffney game is going to be big time next week. I'm excited for that one. It'll be very, very exciting to see that. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Like I said, on Facebook and Twitter. Facebook, Movin the Chains SC. Twitter, Movin Chains. We're on Instagram, Movin Chains. YouTube, we put up the show afterwards. Podcast, if you want to hear an audio-only version on Saturday or Sunday while you're driving to a game or driving to work or whatever on Monday, we're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. Wherever you get your stuff, we're on there. So check us out on all those. We got some cool stuff coming forward on Instagram with photo-wise and whatnot. And then, John, one of the things I love doing on Twitter is kind of doing some polls, like, who do you guys think is the big game? What's this? What's that? So we try to keep it different on these social media platforms. So try to check us out on all of them if you can. I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, the George Agency, back for year 2. We didn't run them off, John, so that's good.
I know, that's good. Very good.
If you guys, we said this all last year, if you're a seasonal worker or you're self-employed or whatever, you need insurance, call these guys. Like, they'll take care of you. Or even if you own a small business and you need some insurance for your business, these guys will handle you. They're statewide. They've got offices in Mullins and Merle's Inlet, but they can handle you wherever. They got clients in Seneca, Greer, the Midlands, the Aiken area, obviously the beach area. So Bradley and Richard and the crew will certainly take care of you there with the George Agency. John, before we go any farther into more scores, I kind of want to talk about this game that we were at tonight.
This was great. Was it a little bit of everything from. We had a little bit of umbrella gate before the game started.
There was a brouhaha in the stands there.
Mix up of who had whose umbrella. It was an older fan seemed to be a little more upset about it than you would expect, but that got smoothed over and we got kickoff underway and we had some fun football. Yep.
And now that was it number 8 Greer versus number 4 Greenville, correct, in the 2A poll the 4A poll? Is that what we had tonight?
I believe that's right. That is. Let me confirm. Yep. 4 Greenville, 8 Greer. You're right.
Yeah, one more score for you too. Wagner Sally was winning 22-0 over Hunter Kennard Tyler last time Mark had a score there, so that still sounds like it's in progress there. But back to Greer Greenville. John, I think today we both picked Greenville to win. We kind of leaned that way. Right. I didn't see it being 34-17 Greenville.
And it really wasn't that close.
No, it really wasn't. Let's just say, I think it's kind of a perfect storm here where Greer's offense is not very good, and Greenville's defense is very good. We talked about it today on the radio. We're actually on ESPN Upstate with Rob Brown earlier doing a little preview. We talked about this game here. But the Scott twins, Aces and Eries, coming over from Hillcrest to Greenville is a game changer. Those kids are very, very good players. Their defensive ends, they can play kind of a bandit linebacker position, but they're tall, they're athletic. They were blowing up the play, blowing up the line every play, John. Greer had nothing going on offense at all.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's not so much that it's not that they're not strong, but they weren't just overpowering their guy. Mm-hmm. They're just blowing by them. I mean, they're fast, big, tall, athletic kids,
right?
And they were just beating them off the line.
Yep. It had a good D tackle too. J.Q. Johnson made a lot of plays for them. Greenville's got a great linebacker, Terrence Guest. You guys may remember him. He was on the Greenville Little League team, Northwood Little League team that went to Williamsport, had a couple wins a few years back. He is now a middle linebacker for them and a very good player. And I was impressed with the quarterback for Greenville as well, John. Prometheus Franklin threw some really nice balls, had a really nice run at one point for a touchdown. He looked very good out there for running the Raiders offense.
And he had really good awareness. There was one play where the Greer linebacker was just put in a tough spot. Mm-hmm. Running back came out of the backfield for Greenville, and the Greer linebacker was following him out the backfield, mm-hmm. and the running back got behind him. Linebacker realized it as Franklin was scrambling out, and the linebacker, I thought, made a good decision. He knew he had a safety back there. Mm-hmm. He said, all right, well, this guy's got me beat. I'm going to go for Franklin. I'm going to go for the quarterback. And Franklin was able to buy enough time, and he didn't throw that ball until that linebacker came up, was able to get that ball to the receiver mm-hmm. in that period of time where there was nobody on that receiver.
Yeah, right in the little honey hole there, BA.
Great decision. Great job just being patient and making a good play.
Yeah, so he threw for, one touchdown, ran for a touchdown. Should have had a second touchdown on a drop pass. The guy wide open dropped it, just turned his head away at the last minute there. But yeah, Franklin looked very good, I thought, for Greenville. Greer, like I said, offensively could not do anything. The quarterback, Hollis Crosby, had a hard time. They put another kid in, the Griffin kid, a little bit. He had a hard time. They couldn't really get the running game with Izzy Rhodes going, obviously, because of the Scott twins. They couldn't have time to throw it to Jaleel Skinner out wide. Greer was just in a tough spot. That's as bad as we've seen Greer look in 2 years, John.
Yeah.
Maybe more than that, probably.
It was tough. to make sure we've got the show rolling on time, we left at the end of the third quarter. But at that point in time, Jaleel Skinner, he only had 1 catch for 6 yards. He had maybe, I'd say, 4 targets on the night.
If that.
And really not his fault. You know,
Right.
The Scott twins and the Greenville defense as a whole just did not give Greer any kind of time to drop back and make a play. You know, the first touchdown that Greer scored early in the game, when they were still in the game, it was 4th and 15. They're scrambling out, hit basically a screen pass underneath, and the receiver made a great job to change directions, come across the field, and get that first.
And that was after a big return on a kickoff. I mean, you know, Greer could not really sustain a drive all night long, and Greenwood really dominated that game. And I mean, it was clear who the better team was. There was no question tonight about that game at all.
You know, it wasn't until the second quarter. You know, Greer, it was 3-0 at the end of the first quarter. Greer hit a 36-yard field goal, Honeycutt. 2 good kickers in this game. 2 good place kickers in this game. And in the second quarter, you know, Greer was up 10-3, and it was a 10-10 game, you know, I'd say relatively early, midway through the second quarter. But Greenville had a 24-point second quarter to really distance themselves. They're up 24-10 going into the locker room, and then they came out. They got the ball first, scored the first drive, made it 31-10. And that pretty much, and you could see the Greenville silent. They were having some juice. They were, you know, Gist was out there dancing around. They were having a good time. They were feeling it. They knew at that point, we're going to win this game.
Yeah, and that was really all she wrote. And it was just, it was all Greenville all the time after the first quarter. Really tonight it was. A couple more viewers tuning in. I see Nick's in here now. I see Travis is in here. Thank you guys, appreciate it. Thanks for the comments, Chris as well. He asked about the Byrnes score. Also, the Braves just walked up the Red Sox. Go Braves! Let's go. This Braves team, if they can get some pitching, they're going to win, but they got to score 8 tonight right now, which is kind of worried me. I see Pete's in here watching. Thank you, Pete. I appreciate you. If you guys are on Twitter watching, love for you to come over and watch us here on Facebook at Movin the Chains, SC, no G in there if you want to go directly to the page. We got some more cool graphics. You got a little better view of us and whatnot. If you're on Facebook, appreciate you. Retweet, like, share, tell all your friends. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram and everything else as well. One thing, I know John and I say this every year. We're the only guys in the state doing this type of show on a Friday night. You say there's people doing these, recap shows and score shows on the radio and whatnot. John, we had, a 20-minute ride probably back from the game earlier?
Yeah, 15, 20 minutes.
So we put on one of these so-called recap, score shows, whatever. I didn't hear a score the whole ride.
We heard the top 10.
Yeah, we heard that. We did hear that.
We covered that this week.
Everybody needs that, yeah.
Great, good. No scores.
Yeah. That's when I get in the car after a football game, I want to turn on the radio, hear scores. That's what we try to do. We hit up our sponsors for 10 seconds. We may talk about the game we were at for a couple minutes. That's fine. We try to give you guys good info. But after that, we're scores. That's why we want you to tell all your friends to tune in to Movin the Chains every Friday night. And this week, John and I talked about it this year, we're doing weekly preview shows for you guys. We don't know if it's going to be on here or in a written document or whatever. We're going to give you some previews of some of the biggest games in the state as well. So.
And they're pretty funny because we'll make some calls.
Some bonehead picks. Yeah.
I was bragging on East Side this week, saying, man, they're high scoring, high
We talked about Lawrence maybe knocking off Greenwood. They got blown out.
They scored 3 points.
Yeah. Appreciate Charles getting in here with Wren beating Clover. Yeah, that was a game. Wren wins 23-21. They're up 23-14 late against 5A Clover. Clover scores a touchdown, gets the onside kick, then just can't go anywhere. Fails to convert a 4th down. Wren wins. And that's just an odd ball game with Wren dropping down from 4A to 3A, defending state champion. Clover had a nice run last year in the playoffs, but they got blown out in a scrimmage last week, jamboree kind of deal. So we don't really know a ton about Clover yet, but it sounds like Wren is a good team again this year, dropping down a division. That 3A, sure. We talked about it the other day. 3A is going to be a blast, just a blast to watch all year long. But let's roll through Upstate scores again. Give a little more color to some of these if we can. John, I know you got some stats from some of these Upstate scores you want to kind of roll out here. The game we were at, Greenville 34, Greer 17. Greenwood 35-7. That's a shocker to me, John. I know we said Coach Liner goes from Lawrence to Greenwood. I didn't expect Greenwood to be able to turn around that quickly and to be able to win and win his game against Lawrence's previous team that badly. But BHP, Belton Honey Path beats Pendleton 29-7. Southside 24, Berea 8. St. Joe's 20, Blacksburg 6. Gaffney 33, Bowling Springs 23. Chris said he was there. He said, Gaffney didn't look the best. That's all right. We're still early in the year. Got some time to go. I wonder how this Bowling Springs team looks. Chris, give us some insight on that if you don't mind. We haven't seen Bowling Springs in a couple years be very good. So I wonder if they're a little better this year, or maybe, Gaffney just didn't play their A game, depending on what it is there. But good win for Gaffney to start the season, getting ready for a big one next week. Byrnes 41, Spartanburg 21. John, Spartanburg was up 14-0 in this game.
Yeah.
Well, Coach Mark Hodge had Raheem Jeter and that Spartanburg Vikings team rolling early in the game, but then Byrnes turned to a sophomore, Mac Long. John, give us these stats that this kid had tonight running the ball for Byrnes.
So, Mac Long, let's keep in mind here, he is a 10th grader, so he's 15 at best, maybe 16 years old. Maybe he can't even drive, but he can drive the football. He had 38 carries tonight for 309 yards for the young man.
Breaking Marcus Lattimore's record.
10th grader, first varsity game he's ever played.
38 for 309. That is toting the rock. I know Byrnes, I think, had 17 passing yards they finished with. That's got to be a little worrisome. I know you ran for 309, but you got to worry in a game against a Dorman or a TL Hanna or a big team later on. You got to be able to throw it a little bit. They're going to need Braden Blackman to kind of figure that out somewhat. We'll see how that goes for them. But nice win for Byrnes there. And it sounds like Mark Hodge has Spartanburg trending in the right direction. Bad news for those guys. They're probably, their season's basically over almost. You've got to upset Dorman to make the playoffs now, pretty much.
And we say that, and I think it's a little bit of good news, bad news for Spartanburg. They had a 14-0 lead. It seems like they were in this game for a little bit. They lost 41-3 last year. They were nowhere near being in this game last year. So it's good. And Seth Smith, their big quarterback coming the year, he's a little bit banged up. That's why Raheem Jeter played. Yeah, it's disappointing to lose the game. It's disappointing. Hey, really on the outside looking in on the playoffs. Do you think, of course, Spartanburg is going to say, oh, yeah, we expect to win every game. We expect to go to the playoffs. Do you really think that's how they're going to measure a successful season this year?
Yeah, it's going to be hard because you could literally go 5-2, lose to Byrnes and Dorman, not make the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's 100% a possibility, which is awful, but it could happen.
If you finish third in that region, that's not the end of the world. Yeah. You look for first year, look for progress, look to go in the right direction. Yep. And tonight, I think your first step. Yep. I think that's okay.
And we talked about it on Thursday night with the 4A and 5A preview last night. I guess it was. We talked about how with these restructuring classifications and whatnot, the regions got realigned. So instead of Gaffney, Dorman, Byrnes, Spartanburg, Bowling Springs, Hillcrest, Malden all in one, they all kind of got split up. Hillcrest, Malden went towards the Woodmont, TL Hanna area. Byrnes, Spartanburg, Dorman stayed together, and then Gaffney and Bowling Springs kind of went over towards some of those Rock Hill schools there a little bit. So interesting how that breaks out. Chris says Bowling Springs looked decent, but Gaffney did not play their best. They're young on the defensive side of the ball. I know they got the Ingram's-Dawkins kid there on defense, and I'm sure those kids will grow up. Gaffney's always good on defense, so that would not worry me too much. Back to the scores here, John. Blue Ridge, Coach Phillips, big win over Carolina, 43-18. Chapman continues to roll in Coach Harry Cabinet's first game. They win 45-14 over Woodruff. Chesney, 27, leads Collegiate 16. Christchurch, 35-96-19. Abbeville, 2A Power Abbeville, trying to win their fourth state championship in 5 years, beats West Oaks 63-0. Daniel all over Seneca, 76-34. That kind of surprised me, John, how bad that game was.
That's a lot of points.
That's a big blowout there for Daniel. Dorman, 69, Riverside, 24. Westside 45, Easley 0. Coach Jordan Duras, first game as the OC as a head coach, did not go well for Easley. Travelers Rest 25, Eastside 3. Hillcrest 24, Malden 14. That's a game we talked about earlier too, John. We thought Malden, with all that talent coming back, much more cohesive unit we thought than what Hillcrest was going to be. Hillcrest is won at least 3 in a row against these guys now.
And they lost. Hillcrest
they lost to the Scotch Twins are in Greenville now. Yeah, that's kind of a shocker to me how that game turned out there. And I
can't explain it.
I just read that TR Eastside score. How does somebody at that game? Like, if you were, let me know. I don't know how an Eastside team with Skoloff at quarterback scores 3 points from TR unless TR has the 85 Bears defense. I don't know what happened there. Something just doesn't seem right to me. So if you were at that Eastside TR game, tune in. Let us know something because that's a shocker score to us. JL Man gets a win tonight, John. 39-32 over Wade Hampton. Palmetto 37, Powdersville 22. Pickens over Walhalla 46-30. That also kind of surprises me a little bit. Walhalla's been a power.
Yeah, that's
lately.
a good win for Pickens.
TL Hanna 35, Woodmont 10, Wren 23, Clover 21. And I do not have a Southside Christian score. If you guys are at that game or have that score, feel free to send that in as well. We're missing that one right now, but everything else in the Upstate, we have it. We've got one more viewer question right here from Jarrell Hendricks. Ask us how the Sadler kid looked at Greenville tonight. John, what did you think about him?
You know, Greenville did well running the ball, and you know they did well protecting Franklin. But you know, for all the pomp and circumstance, I guess that I built up around this kid too. But you know, I didn't see Greenville just blowing Greer off the ball. I didn't see Sadler just.
I know he had a couple holding penalties as well.
2, I think.
Yeah, he had a couple plays I thought where he finished well downfield. You could see he continued, you know, blocking his guy way down there. But it's hard to tell sometimes with the linemen, you know. But I didn't see anything that like really discouraged me from him, obviously.
No.
But we'll see how it turns out. John, do you want to hit us with some more statewide scores here right quick, and then we'll do our team of the week and our too far to get your butt kicked game that you pick every week for us.
Exactly. And let's keep in mind too. Let's give Sadler a break too. He's also 11th grade. Mm-hmm. You know, he's got 2 more years of football to play.
Another comment from Chris here said, we said we're shocked by Greenwood Lawrence, which we were. He said, didn't surprise him. Lawrence really is not that good, but the coaching change at Greenwood will make them better. Yeah, you know, Liner going from Lawrence to Greenwood, he had Lawrence kind of, you know, trending upward, I thought, with the raw kid at quarterback still being there. I thought Lawrence put a little more of a fight, but good win for Greenwood. You know, a program that's been very good in the past, had a few down years. Be great to see them get up and be competitive again and start trending in the right direction.
Yeah, good start for the Greenwood.
Mm-hmm.
So, starting from around the state here, Colleton County knocked off Bluffton tonight 28-7. Northwestern with a nice win on the road tonight went down to Columbia, knocking off Ridgeview 37-21. Carolina Forest defeats South Florence 40-14. Andrew Jackson, they go on the road, defeat Central Pageland 15-8 tonight. And you know that's Andrew Jackson, the private school.
Mm-hmm.
I spoke incorrectly the first time.
So the private school beat Central.
That's what we see here.
I don't know if I believe that. We'll see about this.
Don't quote us on that. This one seems a little good.
That private school for a long time played 8-man football. So I don't know.
That may not be.
I don't know.
Central Pageland's not a bad program.
Yeah, we'll see about that. We'll check
that one. We're gonna put an asterisk by that one. Chapin defeats Lower Richland tonight 47-26. Conway over St. James 21-16. Dutch Fork rolls over White Knoll 66-0. Johnsonville over Hannah Pamplico 34-20. Saluda follows up their state championship run with a big win tonight, 62-14 over Eau Claire on the road. The Latta Vikings with a nice win tonight. They knock off King Street 8-6 tonight. That's a good high school score.
Mm-hmm.
McCormick over Dixie 35-8. Myrtle Beach flexes on Darlington tonight 69-0.
Probably one of the best offenses in the state. Berger and Jones and the other receiver they got.
They lose Luke Doty and they pick up right where they left off.
Yep.
So nice sign there for Myrtle Beach. Nation 4 defeats Fort Mill in the Battle of Fort Mill 45-20. Gilbert over Orangeburg Wilkinson 32-13. Palmetto defeated Powdersville 37-22 tonight. Spring Valley with a comeback win tonight on the road over at District 5 Stadium. They knock off Rock Hill tonight 17-12. South Point knocks off Catawba Ridge 31-14.
New school Catawba Ridge.
I tell you what though, you lose 31-14 to South Point. You can build off of that.
Yep.
For your first game.
Quick comment, I saw our Twitter stream died for a second. That's why I told you guys, watch us on Facebook. Facebook's where it's at. So if you're on Twitter, go to Facebook. Anyway, keep going, John.
Still in progress down in Somerville. Somerville over Stratford 6-0 currently. Wade Hampton down in the lower state. They knock off Silver Bluff tonight 26-24. Also a late start down in Wando, but Wando leads Cane Bay 28-10 currently. This was one of our games of the week. Turned out to be just a blowout here. AC Flora over Westwood 44-6 tonight on the road for Flora as well. York defeated Indiana 21-14. Brooklyn Casey with a very impressive win tonight on the road, beating Fox Creek 41-6.
Good win for BC. Now, I'm going to interrupt you here, John. Was it not last year that we had heard some rumors that BC and maybe Airport or some of the school maybe merging? Am I making that up, or did we not hear that at some point last year? One of the coaches kind of hinted at it that it was somebody that maybe merging.
They said something really weird.
Yes,
I remember. It was really odd what they said. Yeah, Brooklyn Casey and Airport are very, very close together.
I guess it didn't happen, obviously, but anyway, sorry.
Yeah, I tell you what, both of them should keep playing football.
That's right. Yeah.
Brooklyn Casey with a nice win tonight, and then Airport, they go on the road and they shut out Midland Valley tonight, 20-0 in that game. And private school score for you: Heathwood Hall defeats Porter Goud 41-13. I really just like saying that score because I like saying Porter Goud. That's really all that.
Well, you got to get the best Skeeza score. Maybe the best Skeeza game in the state this weekend was PD Academy and Robert E. Lee. PD wins 24-8. Eagles are just rolling along. They're 4-0 right now, John. Boys, a tough stop. We got a big-time quarterback getting some looks already. Hudson Spivey, 6'4", can move a little bit. Got a good arm. Got some good players there, the Eagles do. So watch out for those guys down in Mullins for sure.
That's a good quarterback name.
It is, isn't it?
That's the kind of guy you hear about playing at Georgia.
That's right. So he's a good quarterback. He's a sophomore. Got some time to grow still. Been playing very well for them. See Eric's tuning in now. Appreciate you. I see a couple more viewers. Will there on the Twitter stream. Chris, do you have any more scores of SC Prep Talk? Yeah, we checked them out for sure. Chris, we got stuff from them before. We've got most of them so far. Do you have a Wagner Sally update, John? I know Mark sent us that 22-0 earlier.
I have not seen a Wagner Sally score.
Okay. I will see if I can find another one here in a second. But, John, are you ready for your team of the week? A lot of options here in week one. Of kind of, you call it an upset sometimes here in week one, but nobody really knows anything going into the season. Like, I know you can kind of get a feel because of who came back and who didn't, but you haven't seen these teams play. This year being so different, too, with such little practice time. Even when you did practice, you couldn't really, the contact wasn't the same.
Very different.
The kids are not getting as excited because there's a less crowd there. It's just a very different atmosphere and field of football this year. So hard to say some of these games are upsets, but I mean, technically, if you look at some of the rankings that we have by the prep poll, which is a whole other story for another day. Who's your team of the week, John, here in week one of high school football?
So I'm going to go with Greenwood.
Greenwood, that's a good pick.
This is a program who we said earlier, they've taken a little bit of a step back, but they get to drop down a class. However, they get to drop down a class, but they play Lawrence, who is in the same boat as them, 5A dropping down to 4A. And a good Lawrence team coming off of a good year, a good season last year, and they beat them up. Beat them 35-7 in a game that, if you had told me, hey, Lawrence is going to win this game, I go, okay, yeah, I believe that.
Yep.
But Greenwood dominates them 35-7. Greenwood's my team of the week solely for who they beat tonight and how they beat them.
Yeah.
Lawrence, number 10 team in the state, coming in this week. So we'll have a new number 10 next week.
There's a lot of good options to pick. Obviously you could go with a team like Hillcrest that upsets Malden. You go with a team like Travelers Rest that just shocks East Side. You go with the team, even the Greenville team that we were at, that's kind of a big win for those guys.
I was very impressed with Greenville.
Lots of options there. I think I'm going to go with one, John. I don't know if you even said this score yet, but it's an upset in ranking-wise. That is the North Myrtle Beach Chiefs. Yeah. They beat number 3 Hartsville 40-21 tonight, John. So I'm going to go with North Myrtle Beach, the Chiefs. Big win for those guys. I know it's not fair for some of these schools. They got postponed. I know, oh my goodness. I know, Green Sea Force in Lakeview Winter Games Week plays Monday. Dillon,
Lexington and River Bluff, I believe, got postponed as well.
Same thing with Dillon. A couple other big games there. Another team we could have put AC Flora. Another big win over Westwood. So lots of good options for team of the week there. But I'm going to go with North Myrtle Beach with the big upset win over Hartsville. Because they didn't just beat them by a couple. They beat them by 19 points. That's a very big win, very nice win there for North Myrtle Beach. So hats off to those guys there. Next one, John. Do you have your too far to get your butt kicked game in team of the week?
Yeah, I do. So, this is, I hate to do this because it's Darlington.
Ooh.
It's Darlington.
Ooh.
And,
Ooh.
for everyone in South Carolina that's ever gone to Myrtle Beach, there is no quick way to go to Myrtle Beach. There's no quick route. There's no easy way to go. And to go to Myrtle Beach, first game of the year, after being all pumped up to start the season and losing 69-0.
You hate to see it.
69-0. That's just that's too far. That's a dark, long ride back to Darlington tonight.
You hate to see it. But yeah, that's a tough one. The Falcons, not a good start to the season for sure. Not a good start to the season. Once again, I'm Kevin Thomas, John Epps here, Moving the Chains. Week 1, September 25th, 2020. We're starting the season about 4 weeks later than what we usually do, but here we are.
We're here.
If you're tuning in on Facebook, we appreciate you. Moving the Chains SC. Like it, comment, share, tell your friends. It's a lot better when people talk to us. We love chatting with Chris back and forth, and these guys are getting us scores like Mark and Charles. Those guys, we really appreciate that because obviously we can't go to every game, especially this year with the reduced capacity sizes. Love it when you guys give us information. If you're at a game, send us a picture too. We'll take it on Twitter. At Movin Chains, VINCHAINS. If you're watching on Twitter, we recommend you come over to Facebook. That'd be nice of you. We're also on Instagram, Movin Chains. We got some cool photos coming up for you guys that John and I have taken over the past couple of years at football games. If you want to catch us, tomorrow on YouTube, we're on there. If you want to listen to the audio only version, we're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, whatever. We're there. The cool thing about our show too, why we think people like it, is that if you miss the beginning of it, you can always go and restart it. It's just there again.
Or skip a bunch of it.
And then for us, we're going to run through the scores a couple times, so we're going to make sure you still hear it. So that's why we think Facebook Live is a great place to do our show. That's why we hope that you guys will keep tuning in week after week and even telling friends about it, growing an audience for us. We've had some big numbers here on our preview show so far. Trying to get as big as we can. I know we did, I said a big interview today with Rob Brown on ESPN Upstate. John and I got on there and talked about some of the big Upstate games because he wanted us to talk about that. So we did that. That was a lot of fun. Going to try to make that a weekly occurrence. 97.7 in Greenville, 97.1 in Spartanburg on Friday afternoons, hopefully. So tune in for that as well. Quick shout out to our sponsor again, the George Agency. They've been taking care of us. They take care of you and your family and your business as well with insurance. Whether you need life, health, insurance for your business, whatever it is, they can take care of you. Bradley and Richard and Wayne and the crew. Hit them up at georgeagency.net. Also on Facebook and whatnot. They've got a lot of good stuff and can take care of you. And whatever insurance needs you may have. John, anything you want to say about tonight's games? I want to run through the Upstate scores quickly one more time before we sign off. But anything that you've seen jump out through some of these scores, or that's just really caught your eye we haven't maybe mentioned yet?
The one thing that's hopped out to me is going through our preseason reviews and looking at the individual players, looking at what happened last year in these teams. One thing that I thought about personally was, okay, this team's got a lot of talent. This team's got a 3-star guy. This team's got a 4-star guy. Talent's going to take over. Mm-hmm. A lot of that didn't happen tonight.
Yeah.
Malden was a team that we were high on from a talent perspective. They lost. Mm-hmm. It's football's the ultimate team game.
That's it.
And tonight, proved that once again.
Yeah. Chris wants a little more info about the podcast. Yeah, Chris, it's just. You can do it through Apple. It's just called Movin the Chains. Same thing as here. It's on Google Podcasts if you got an Android phone. It's on Spotify, radio.com, wherever you get your podcast is on there. So what we're doing right now is we're just taking this show, stripping the audio, putting that out as a podcast in case you missed it and want to hear it, just through your phone, whatever. But starting next week, John and I told you, we're doing a little weekly preview show. Some of the big games in the state coming out probably Wednesday or Thursday, something like that, maybe even Friday morning. So you don't want to tune in for that to kind of get the previews that we may not be able to usually do. So make sure you sign up and kind of subscribe to that podcast there on Apple or Google or Spotify, whatever you use. So check that out as well. I got a couple more viewers here. I see Greg and a Q in here tuning in. I appreciate you guys. John, let's run through the Upstate scores one more time here before we kind of sign off if that works for you.
That works. Let's do it.
The game we were at, one of our games of the week, Greenville 34, Greer 17. Also, do you want to look up a quick schedule for next we see if anything pops out?
Yeah, let's see if we can find something.
Yeah. I know there's a big one with Gaffney. That's a big one for sure. Greenville 34, Greer 17. Greenwood 35, Lawrence 7. Belton Honeypath 29, Pendleton 7. Southside 24, Berea 8. St. Joe's 20, Blacksburg 6. Gaffney 33, Bowling Springs 23. Byrnes 41, Spartanburg 21. Blue Ridge 43, Carolina 18. Chapman 45, Woodrow 14 in Coach Cabinet's first game. Chesney 27, Legion Collegiate 16. Christchurch 35, 96-19. Abbeville 63, West Oak 0. Daniel 76, Seneca 34. Dorman 69, Riverside 34. Westside 45, Easley 0. Travelers Rest 25, Eastside 3. Hillcrest 24, Malden 14. JL Man 39, Wade Hampton 32. Palmetto 37, Powdersville 22. Pickens 46, Walhalla 30. TL Hanna 35, Woodmont 10. A little bit of a shocker there for me, John. Woodmont's played in pretty tight last couple of years, but TL Hanna, big win there for those guys. So good job, TL Hanna there. And then Wren knocks off 5A Clover 23-21. One thing I got to say, John, real quick before you do that, we don't give out game balls. We do teams of the week. But if we did game balls, Mac Long, Byrnes, if you just tuned in, sophomore Mac Long for Byrnes rushes 38 times for a state record, breaks Marcus Lattimore's record, 38 carries for 309 yards. 309 yards, and they needed all of them because Byrnes only had 17 passing yards. So that was big for those guys. Probably the best O-line in the state the Rebels have there. So big game for Mac Long, 38 for 309. He would get a game ball if we gamed him out. Sorry, we don't. But
he deserves one tonight.
For sure. Chris said he'll tune into the podcast. Thank you, Chris. We really appreciate your support, man. It's something we like doing, and I'd love to have you guys support us and check us out as well. So, John, any big games that you like next week, just kind of looking at the quick schedule, you're like, man, this is going to be awesome.
So just running through here, first game that I see, Brooklyn Casey Strom Thurmond. Okay. So I don't know if Strom Thurmond played tonight. I didn't see a score from them, but they are a top 10 school. Brooklyn Casey with an impressive win, 41-6 over Fox Creek tonight. So they step up in a team next week playing Strom Thurmond. So I think that could be a really good game. We'll really get a good barometer on BC next week after that game. Dillon, they kick off. They'll play.
I mean, yeah, that's probably the biggest one to say right there.
They'll play Ainer next week.
Dillon Ainer,
they do not like Ainer.
Ainer upset Dillon last year. Dillon's first regular season loss in who knows how long. Big win for those guys. Huge win for Ainer. We'll see how Dillon comes back next week. Probably will fire up after last year.
Here is a big game down in the Low Country, Fort Dorchester and Goose Creek. So that's a top 10 5A.
And I believe both of those teams had to have their games tonight postponed. So it'll be a little bit of a double dip action for them next week here for those two teams to get going.
Greenwood and Eastside, I'm gonna back off the Eastside train here and say that could be an ugly one for the Eagles of Eastside.
Yep. Did you miss the biggest one in the state I pointed out there, John? Or
no, I was going to let you.
You're going to say that?
I was going to let you mention that one.
Okay. Well, I'm going to throw it out there. This may be the biggest game in the state, not next week, but the whole year. You might not see a bigger game until the playoffs, and that is Gaffney and Dorman at the reservation. That's going to be just a slobber knocker, John.
And we heard tonight, and I don't know if this is just, hey, we're all excited high school football is back. We're all saying crazy things. Yeah. They're wild. But we heard tonight that Dorman, some opinion says they may have the best team
People are saying it. It's not us. People are saying it.
We'll see.
We're hearing it
next
week.
We're
hearing it. That will be a game, John. I don't know if we decided what game we're going to next week, but I may be the one to make a trip to if we can get tickets. So let me get on the phone with the Gaffney AD and see what we can make happen there. But that will be a heck of a ball game to go to.
And here's this one. A lot of people probably won't care when I say this game. This one is in Bonetown. North Central Andrew Jackson. But folks, let's keep in mind, North Central High School last year, the school got flattened by a tornado. I'm not sure what they're doing right now. I don't know. At the time last year, they were debating whether they were going to rebuild the school at all. So it'd be cool to see North Central have a good year this year after what happened to them last year with the tornado. We got Spring Valley and Ridgeview, which is an interesting matchup after what happened to Ridgeview
Vikings tonight. Yeah, Ridgeview didn't look the best, but good one for Spring Valley.
That could be a tough one. Rock Hill will play Sumter next week. Now that's a tasty matchup right there.
And that's the game too, where you're Rock Hill. You think you may have a pretty decent team, and you could easily start at 0-2.
You could
just because of who you're playing. I mean that's that's a pretty big game for them. I mean, obviously, that's not a region game next week for them playing against Sumter, but you want to get a win if you can to kind of prove that, you know what, maybe we are the real deal.
And you don't want to go 0-2 because then your confidence is a little shaken. A big game here in the lower level, Saluda and Newberry.
Yeah,
we'll get into it.
Newberry's looked very good. Looked very good last night, as well as some jamborees. And then Saluda, they lost a lot with the Creech guy going and Noah Bell. One of the better players this state has probably ever seen when you look at some of the stats he put up. He's a heck of a quarterback. He's going on now to the collegiate level. So Saluda lost a lot, but they looked good tonight and had a big win over Eau Claire, which I'm not saying a lot, but still a good win for Saluda for sure.
Yeah, so that wraps it up for the big games next week. Spartanburg, they'll get to play Wade Hampton.
Probably a nice get-right game for them.
We don't really have to be nice to anybody. We can say it. Spartanburg can kind of get the feet under themselves probably next week in that game against Wade Hampton. So Coach Hodge can continue to mold that program, mold that team into how he wants them to be.
Yeah, appreciate it. I see Mark tuning in as well. Thank you, Mark, for checking us out. Chris says he thinks the Dorman is the best they've been in a long time, and he thinks it might be their best team in a long time as well.
So is this?
People are saying it.
Is this better than the Dorman team that had NFL, Sharon Peak on this side, NFL, Adam Humphreys on the other side? I don't know who the quarterback was of that team.
I'm trying to think who that would have been.
Yeah, a great year.
It's a long time ago now. It's probably 07, 08-ish.
So
maybe 09.
I don't know if we're thinking it's better than that team or not. Or the team last year was awfully good.
Team last year, they gave Dutch Fork all they could handle. They did with the Lee kid at quarterback. Chance Black out there making plays. Very good team.
One of the best high school games I've seen in a long time, maybe ever, was last year's Dorman-Byrnes game.
Yeah, Dorman-Byrnes was a lot of fun.
Great game.
And that was, probably like, week 7, week 8, where both teams were undefeated, I think, at that point still. So it was a huge game.
35-33 game. That was fun.
It's kind of tough that you're going to see a game of that caliber week 2. You'd rather it be a little bit later in the year.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you got to take it where you get it. We're just glad we have football right now.
Right.
Put it that way. Just glad we have football. Yeah, and Chris said he thinks this team is better than that team that had Peak and Humphreys, a little more complete. It sounds like so.
Okay, cool, very cool.
We'll see. We'll see about that next week. We'll learn a little bit more about Gaffney and Dorman. I think next Friday night for sure. One more shout out to our sponsor, the Georgia Agency. All your insurance needs. If you need individual, health, life, whatever you need. If you're a seasonal worker or maybe you work for independent contractor, whatever. They can help you out with that. Or if you own a small business and you don't want to go through one of the big boys for your insurance, you want somebody who can really take care of you. Blue Cross Blue Shield backs these guys. They can get you the same rates as anybody else can, but they've got a little more hands-on, a little more personalization, more customization for you. They're going to be there. Bradley and Richard and Wayne will take care of you guys. I promise you they will. Offices in Mullins and Merle's Inlet, but they can work across the state. They've got clients at Greer, they've got clients in Seneca, clients in the Midlands, Aiken, wherever. They'll take care of you guys at GeorgiaAgency.net and the Georgia Agency on Facebook. Check out those guys and appreciate them being back for another year, John. It makes it easier for us to be able to buy a few things and go to a few games. We're going to hopefully get a nice little sign coming for you guys soon as well, a little banner behind us.
And Bradley, he's often in the Upstate. He'll be here.
He'll be here next weekend. He'll be here next week. That's right. So if you guys have a small business you want to advertise with us, hit us up, man. We'll make you a killer deal, I promise. So shout out to you guys. I want to shout out Rob and ESPN Upstate one more time too for having us on. That was big time. It helps somebody actually takes us seriously. We started this kind of as a fun project. We saw there was a need for it. Nobody's really doing something like this in the Upstate or really in the whole state. We saw a need for it. Year 3 is just kicked off for us tonight, John. We're seeing some kind of validity to it. People are kind of saying, hey, well, these guys are for real. They know what they're talking about. They do a good job. Like, no, I'm talking about kind of. Yeah. Anyway, they do a good job. They have fun with it, and it's nice to kind of see some fruits of our hard work come through, John.
Yeah.
And hopefully we turn it into an every week thing with Rob on his show on ESPN Upstate. But love talking some football with him today. That was a lot of fun.
And check out Rob during the week. He is 12 to 3 ESPN Upstate. That 97.7.
Yep, in Greenville, 97.1 in Spartanburg. Radio.com app worldwide. If you want to check him out there. But Rob's a good guy. He's got some good stuff on his show for sure. So appreciate him today. But want to shout out our links one more time. If you're on Twitter watching, go over to Movin the Chains on SC. Facebook, please follow us over there. If you're on Facebook, appreciate you. Share it, tell your friends. Check us out on Instagram at Movin Chains. Check us out on Twitter at Movin Chains. YouTube, we put up a version of the show afterwards. We'll have that on there. And then the podcast, like I talked about, we'll take an audio version of this, put it on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, everywhere you get your podcasts. And then next week, we'll have a little weekly preview show coming out for you guys, something you don't want to miss. It's going to be fun, I promise. I don't know about you. I mean, I don't know how you guys are, but I know how I am, how John is here. By Wednesday, Thursday, we're going to itch for some football. We need something to get us going. And we're thinking this little weekly preview podcast might be just what we need. So be sure to check us out for that every week as well on the podcast network. So that'll be a lot of fun. But anything else you want to hit on, John, here before we sign off for the night?
Yeah, last thing I'll say is I'm hoping for a little bit better concessions next week.
Don't get me started.
We had some incredibly long lines, and I want to try to do better this year with the concession ratings and updates on that.
I'll give you tonight's rating. It's not applicable. I couldn't get anything.
Yeah, it was tough. Now, Greenville last year had some killer chili on the hot dogs.
Yep.
At halftime, we were out of hot dogs. We were out of nachos. So we had we were out of hot dogs. They had Zaxby's Nibblers. I don't know when they ran out, but they ran out at halftime.
Yeah, it was on the sign.
It was either nachos or candy, which, hey, first week, okay, whatever. But better luck next week on the concession stand. No, nothing has topped the ice cream sandwich from 2 years ago at Byrnes. That was
good.
Number one.
That was good.
Bar
none. That was good. Yeah, that was good. That was a good call. But yeah, so I mean, once again, let me tell you, thank you guys for your support. You really helped us out. We're loving the viewers we're seeing here. We got a handful going on now. We've had, like I said, guys like Chris and Tyler and Mark and Haley and Brian all tuning in tonight. We love that, guys. Feel free to comment. Don't be scared.
Talk trash to us if you want.
If we said something stupid, call us out on it. If we made a bad pick, call us out on it. So feel free to tell us. If you went to a game, give us a breakdown, send us a picture, whatever it is. We appreciate that. So check us out all year long on Moving the Chains for week 1. It's been Kevin Thomas and John Epps here. Check us out next week, and we will see you here soon.